Good morning. Good morning, all. Welcome you all. With the blessings of Almighty, Holy Trio, and our revered Secretary Swamiji Maharaj, I welcome all the participants to join us in this webinar today. Okay. We have around 800 participants. We kindly request you to cooperate in this regard. And kindly, participants, do not share your screen because we have already set a plan so that the resource person alone can share the screen. So please bear with us. Now I request our principal, Dr. G. Subramaniam Anna, to welcome the guests.
Most revered, our Secretary Swami Arshanji Maharaj, Dr. M. Jagadish, the organizing secretary of this webinar, dear faculty members, Dr. Sivasankaran, Dr. Ayyappan, and all other faculty members, non-teaching staff of our institutions, Dr. Dinesh, and the participants over the globe. Good morning to one and all. My pranams to our Secretary Maharaj. So today, the international webinar on a bundle of tools for online teaching. The world is undergoing a tremendously disaster at times. The effects of novel coronavirus are evident across the globe, irrespective of geographical boundaries. Everyone is denied of accessing their normal lives. The students worldwide are deprived of having access to their classrooms for more than 4 to 5 months. It is very pathetic situation that anybody could think of. The story of human race is definitely the story of their struggles and adventures over centuries. As teachers, we have to be flexible enough to change our education system to cope up with the situation, not risking the future of learners. Thus, the definition of teaching, and it means that being changing nowadays, that even before. As a safer and intelligent choice, online teaching and learning are getting promoted in this pandemic situation. Being teachers, we should equip ourselves to meet the demand of the present new normals in education. The webinar envisages to familiarize some of the online tools that helps you to get acquainted with new models of virtual teaching learning environment. Once again, I congratulate the organizing secretary of this webinar, Dr. Jagadish, and I also wholeheartedly welcome all the participants throughout the globe to participate in this webinar. Continuously, our College of Education is organizing different types of webinars on different topics. I also congratulate all the staff members. So be safe and be safe for learning. So thank you very much for one and all. Thank you.
I would like to introduce our today's chief guest for the session. Dr. Mohan has been working as a faculty member at the School of Computing, Information and Mathematical Sciences, University of South Pacific, Fiji. Earlier, he has worked for universities in Saudi Arabia, Amrita and Karunya in India, and he also worked in the software giant Infosys Limited, India. He has more than 2 decades of experience in academics, industry, and research. To his credit, he has successfully supervised 6 doctoral candidates, published 3 books of international repute, 10 book chapters, and more than 50 research papers at international level. He has a PhD in computer science, Masters in computer cognition technology, both from the University of Mysore, a bachelor's in computer science and engineering from Bharatidasan University. His areas of research include intelligent computing, machine learning, computer graphics, and vision. Dr. Mohan organized and served as a program committee member at various international conferences that are published by IEEE, Springer, etc. He is also a senior member of IEEE and a member of ACS. Dr. Mohan evaluates computer science programs of various universities in USA and other countries for their accreditation as a program evaluator at ABET. He has a rich experience in online teaching and learning systems. He is also instrumental in implementing learning management systems at various institutions. So at this juncture, I would like to welcome our resource person, Dr. Mohan S., because at this difficult times, this would be a very good opt topic for which all the stream faculties, we have faculties from engineering, arts and science, pharmacy, even we have school teachers who have joined here. So this will be a good opportunity for us to learn. Now I request Dr. Mohan S. to take over the session. We'll be joining at the vote of thanks. Thank you. Mohan sir,
Yeah.
kindly you can present your screens.
Sure. Very good morning to all the participants. Thanks for all of you to join during this pandemic time to watch approximately about an hour of bundle of tools for online teaching. First of all, my sincere thanks to the organizer, Dr. M. Jagdish, who has been instrumental.
Mohan sir, sorry to interrupt you.
Sorry?
Please resume the presentation. Just click resume presentation. Sir.
I think I did it. Did it not? Let me.
In Google Meet.
All right, I did that.
Yes.
My screen?
Thank you. And your audible is little low, sir. You can just increase your audible.
All right.
Volume.
Could you see my screen? Is it better now? The audio? I don't hear anything from your side. Oh, that's great. Okay, so I'm getting reply from the participants that it is better audible. Okay, that's good. You know, these are all some of the words that has become very popular now these days. Am I audible? Am I visible? Is it clear? Is it audible? Right? So these words have become very popular now during this pandemic. Right, so let me thank Dr. M. Jagdish, who has organized this, and he's been so instrumental in fixing this duration, though I'm a little occupied with my semester grading. Also, I thank Dr. G. Subramaniam, who is the principal of the Ramakrishna College, for welcoming me to this webinar. All right, so before taking too much of time, let me get into the topic. So I have about 35 slides for today's presentation. All right, so if there is anything that you feel in between, like if there is any trouble in video, audio, please stop me. And I also have shared my YouTube live stream links. Those who are unable to join or those who wish to see from the YouTube, you can see a better quality. And I see currently about 45 people are online. please join in the video stream and you will be able to see a better quality streaming, right? Okay, so let me start what is going to be the content here. First of all, we should understand why we are here at this juncture of time and what is the need for us to participate in this webinar, right? We are also going to talk about the challenges for the teachers during this pandemic time. And then I'll be talking a little bit about a concept called e-moderation, which is not new. It has been introduced quite a while ago, which clearly talks about the struggles that the present day students are facing because of this pandemic and because of the sudden introduction to the online teaching tools. And then the core topic of the webinar is the tools that we are going to talk about is that classroom management tools, content creation tools, assessment tools, communication tools, and finally I'll be giving you some tools that are very handy in case if you miss any of these series of tools. And also I'll end up with recommending a series of tools that any institution can go with, or any department or a school can go with a set of tools to start the online teaching, which could be cost effective and resource effective. Right, so why we are here? It's quite obvious that the world has been facing a very tremendous trouble because of these pandemic due to the COVID-19. Suddenly, everyone started talking about the online classes and the tools. I mean, that is going to be the topic of today. If you see that these are not the tools that are existing only now, or they are just introduced only now. They have been available quite a while ago, but then those tools, the usage of those tools have become very high during this time because of the remote and online teaching. So I can tell you from my point of view, from Fiji, it started as early as the second week of March when the first case was identified. Suddenly everyone went into the lockdown. The government ordered the lockdown, and then the cases were increasing day by day. And about 14 days of lockdown, there were about 18 cases in total. Slowly the cases have come down, no international travels. But then after a month, after 45 days, and then the cases have come down. After 60 days, almost nothing, 0 cases, 0 death. So what happened now recently, that all the restrictions have been lifted. So this is one of the countries where there is no restrictions at all. In the sense, we have little restrictions in terms of gathering people, not more than 100 people, and still there's a late night curfew. But other than that, people are quite normal. As a university, this is one of the largest universities in the South Pacific. It's called the University of the South Pacific, which is spread across 13 island countries. All these island countries, there is no coronavirus. I mean, 1 or 2 cases were found, but then now all are 0 cases. But then we completely went online. It is not new to this university because there was already an existing platform where we have been teaching online. We used to have 2 modes. One is the face-to-face, other one is the online mode. Online mode is for the countries which are remote, the other island countries where the students cannot come here. So there are campuses of the USP where we offer the courses through online mode. So we have a very stable platform. We have utilized that to offer even for the face-to-face students. So for all others, there's a paradigm shift, right? So you have not expected this shift. I mean, the universities in the West have been already going for the online degrees, online programs, but then gradually. But suddenly this pandemic has triggered it in a way that all the traditional teaching have become online teaching. So there is an urge to learn the technology for all the teachers. Right? Whether you are a computer science person or whether you are a completely non-computer science person, you are forced by, I mean, whether you're willing or unwilling, you are forced to learn the technology which supports this online teaching. So ironically, it is not going to stop, all right? In the sense, it's not about the COVID, it's about the online teaching. It's not going to stop. People are going to see more of online teaching in the future. So you should be able to accustom to this online teaching mode. So the focus is changing from the infrastructure to the knowledge base. So you probably might be knowing, you're working in a lot of different private institutions, you might be knowing how much importance your management or other managements used to give it for the infrastructure in terms of the buildings. I mean, the least importance was given, unfortunately, it is not intentional, unfortunately or unknowingly, the least importance was given to the knowledge base of the faculty members and the teachers. But then now, there is a realization that the knowledge base and the teachers, who are the backbone of the teaching industry, has been appreciated for handling the online classes, engaging the students online, right? So we used to see a lot of news through the media that how the teachers are engaging with available resources, right? So that's the focus now. So you should be able to have the knowledge of all these tools. And of course, we always feel that our students outsmart the teachers. Any tool that you learn, particularly in terms of the assessment, you should know how these tools are useful in benefiting the good students and not benefiting the students who are smart in malpractices in terms of the cheating and other things, right? So the challenges here when you go for the online teaching is that the learning curve. So you are asked to start the online teaching from the day one without even knowing what the online teaching is all about or how the tools are going to work, right? So the learning curve involved in understanding those tools that varies depending on your prerequisite, I mean existing knowledge or your understandability about how to use these tools and the methods to adapt to all those things. And then the challenge is in terms of the assessment, how you are going to assess your students, in what kind of examination you are going to conduct. The most easiest way is the multiple choice, but then you cannot always stick on to the multiple choice. So you need to test an other way of assessing your students as well, particularly the courses like the math and science. The data entry and analytics. So probably some of the senior faculty members may be good at traditional classes, but then when it comes to the online classes, they may struggle a lot to enter the data quickly. If you have a lot of students, say for example, hundreds of students in your class, you will find a lot of difficulty in entering your data into the system. So that data entry and getting the analytics, right, about how the students performed in your class, for example, taking as simple as log reports, the reports about a particular activity, how many students have participated in an online examination, how long did they take, all these analytics take some time for you to get to know. And then engaging the students online. This is the most challenging even I have faced. When we deliver the courses online, we do not know how the students are on the other side. Even now I see a lot of participants in my session. I still do not know whether you guys, you teachers are listening or you have simply connected and you are not listening. I do not know actually, that's a fact. Unless there is an interactive session. But if there is a large group of audiences, just like this particular session, where hundreds of participants are there, you have a very limited scope for making it very interactive. And then that's what I said about the interaction. And then how to be smarter than the smartest of our students. So this is a very challenging question because you find a way. For example, I introduce a plagiarism tool in my assignments. The students know how this plagiarism tool works. They try to find out the loopholes of this tool, and then they try to outsmart that. They just try to, rephrase some sentences and try to see that if the plagiarism percentage is similarity percentage is coming down. So they always work on it. Okay, so we cannot stop it. The students, of course, they are very smart. Right, so let's try to understand about a concept called e-moderation, which was introduced by Gilly Salmon. Just search for Gilly Salmon five-stage model. This is not new. She has introduced a long back, about a decade back, where there's a five-stage. It's like going up in a mountain. You cannot just reach the top of the mountain in just one step. You need to go slowly up. So this is what's happening with the online teaching and learning. So to get get to that level of understanding the tools, or get to the basic learning itself, will take some time because of the total change in the the platform of online teaching. So it all starts from the basic things, where the digital tools, right? That's the first step, where you get access to those tools. So whenever you say some tools, the students and the participants should get the access to those tools. That's most important. That's why most of the people prefer the web-based tools, because you don't have to install anything. The students might be using any platform, Windows, Linux, or Mac, or even the mobile devices like Android. So your tools must support all these types of devices. So the first one is the access, where you get used to the tools and the online environments. All right, so you try to understand and try to take the advantages of the online courses. That's the first step. The second step is getting socialized online, right? So the participants start interacting with each other, and the facilitator, that is the teachers, and they form a learning community. Right? That's what is more important. This can be formed in terms of many ways, depending on the tools. For example, in Moodle, we have a forum where you have a closed loop follow-up, in the sense you can post a question and get the answers from the students, and then you can give your own summary on the replies that you have got from all your students. So that kind of socialization is needed that as a second step. The third one is the information exchange, where the group, the groups that you form out of participants, they try to work together to complete tasks and participate in the activities. So what this author says is that all the activities in the classroom, when you go online, they become the activities, right? So that's the e-moderation activities. So here they grow and more confident about their role in the online teaching as an e-learner. They try to build themselves as an e-learner. They learn from their own pace, and then try to gather the expertise and experience. And then the knowledge construction, that's the next step, where the group members have found their roles in the e-community and have already adjusted. So they know how it works. They are familiar with how to participate, how to learn. Right? So they are taking responsibility for their own learning, and they help each other. Also, the facilitator has now taken a more peripheral role, in the sense he is not a typical teacher. He is only a guide. He is only a person who participate only when there is a necessity, right? So that's what is happening at this knowledge construction stage. And then you have the development, where the participants do not only learn, but also implement knowledge and experience from the course in their own work. So they try to exhibit how they build their knowledges. So they're also capable of fine-tuning this knowledge to suit their own areas of work. So that's the ultimate objective of any teaching and learning. So this is what happens with your five-step process with what is called as the e-moderation simply. There are a lot of works published by this author, and based on this work actually. So if anyone is interested in the online teaching, learning, research, you can very well start working from this. All right, so getting into the core of this topic, which is a list of tools. So let me start with the classroom management tools. Okay, so in the sense, you're going to replicate what you're doing in your classroom with an online platform. So there are certain tools that support your online teaching. So before I start, I want to request the online participants, particularly in the YouTube, whoever it is there, just click on the subscription button. That will add some count to my YouTube channel. This is only a request, okay? So you can please make a subscription, and I'll be sharing a lot of interesting contents.
Mohan sir, sorry to interrupt, sir.
Yeah.
Just resume your screen sharing, also.
Come again?
Resume your screen sharing, sir. One of our participants has shared the screen.
Oh, why
Now
this is going again and again?
Participants, a kind request, do not share your screen. It will be a disturbance to the resource person. Kindly cooperate. Thank you.
All right, so please let me know if my, actually I see at the bottom that stop sharing. So I assume that this screen has already been shared. All right, thanks for interrupting. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. That will be helpful. And going ahead, you have the first tool as the Moodle. I'm sure most of the participants might have heard about the Moodle, and probably you might be working in Moodle, right? So Moodle is a well-known learning management tool, which has been in existence for almost 2 decades. This is open source, and it's been growing very large because you have a very good community support, which is helping you to learn and adapt to this online teaching learning platform. And this community is also helpful in developing this tool. It actually helps a large number of users. Even when it was introduced, it was able to help about 50,000 users at any time. So the server is very stable and reliable, and also it's very secure. So unless you have a proper authentic entry, you'll not be able to share your your data or whatever you have in your teaching tools. And then the learning curve is linear. So it's I would say that it's been improving. The user interface is improving. You will be spending some time in learning the basics of Moodle before you get used to it. So it can be even installed for a small school on a LAN. So when I was working in India about 7 years back, approximately about 9 years back, we didn't have a very a big configuration of server, but then we just installed in a local machine with just i3 configuration with a Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP LAMP stack, and we were able to use this Moodle for about say 1,000 students approximately at that time, and it was quite stable at that time. Right, so now probably all of you might be having a typical server in your institution, so you can easily ask your IT administrator to install this and configure it. It's not a big deal. It's about less than an hour. It can be installed and configured to be used instantaneously. And just to know how far is Moodle penetrated into Indian market, I have taken this chart recently. This is what it says. It's about the market share in Moodle. In India for the Moodle is about say 50%, slightly more than 50% compared to other tools like Canvas and Bright Spaces. And you have the next tool, which is the Google Classroom. I'm sure those who have started, most of the people, as far as I know, those who have started the online teaching during this pandemic, they just started with Google Classroom. Probably they didn't have any other infrastructure, and this Google Classroom absolutely supported such sudden starts. So the Google Classroom is fundamentally a Google product. Those who are familiar with Google products can quickly get into this Google Classroom. The learning curve is much steeper than your Moodle. The intuitive user interface makes you to learn it very quickly. So the advantages here is that, as I said, this is easy to learn. It easily integrates with a lot of Google apps and websites. So you can, in fact, share, collect, and grade if you are part of the G Suite. G Suite is available for the institutions if your institution would like to go for a license. All of them will be coming as a bundle. And there are some negatives. The integration with some of the other services like student information services, still it is under development. If you have other tools, which is third-party developed or in-house built tools for the student management system, the integration is not that easy. In fact, with any other LMS, most of the institutions will have two systems. One is for the student database maintenance or the student services. The other one is the teaching learning management services like the Moodle. So most of the people, they go with two different URLs in the same server because probably the student databases are more customized based on your requirements. So the bottom line is that it's a great way to manage and organize your teaching management resources, right? So this is how you can see the industries are using the Google Classroom, right? So you can see not only the higher ed, you can see the education management, even the primary, secondary education, right? So you can see some of the social organizations, even also you can see some of the hospitals and healthcare, they may be using it for their training, in-house training, right? So even the software companies do use it for their own training and benefits, okay? So you can see different types of industries that use the Google Classroom. And you can see, of course, the top country using the Google Classroom is US, and India is not far below, it's still in the 4th position. So you can see just below Canada. That means people have started using more of Google Classroom these days. And you have another tool called Classkick. This is a purely web-based application. This is actually a kind of wrapper in the sense if you don't like the fundamental way of the Google Classroom appearance and other things, you can use the tools like the Classkick. This can be integrated with your Google Classroom. So the features of Google Classroom plus the Classkick will help you to have a better classroom management. This has much more user friendliness in terms of the usability. So you have the screen which is given on your left side. You can see the advantages and disadvantages, like the ability to interact with and adapt instruction to individual students in real time opens up many possibilities for use. On the negative side, this will not work without a Wi-Fi connection. Of course, this should happen with anything because it's web-based. And the file uploads are limited to images and PDF. This is a very big setback because when you are asking your students to submit, probably they may be submitting Word files or PowerPoint files. So that may not be supported in this one. But since you are integrating with the Google Classroom supports all the types of files. So this is not a big drawback as it is mentioned. The bottom line is that it's a great option for teachers who want to go paperless, provide specific feedback and encourage collaboration among students in one-to-one classroom. So this is another screenshot of Classkick where I just tried to create an assignment. You can see that I just created an assignment for math. It says who wants to access this. And also there are some slides which are available. You can make your students to learn what actually the Classkick is. You don't have to give a training on this. So this is available as part of the Classkick once you sign up, right? So you can see the interface is totally different. It is very minimalistic and it looks very rich. And then we have another tool called Schoology. This is again for the digital classrooms, and here there are flexible options for assigning and assessing the work. So you can also assess your works. You can also conduct some exams. It can be a little overwhelming to first-time users not familiar with this style of LMS. I think someone has switched on their mic. Please keep it muted. So here, if you want to use the Schoology to the most, you need some ramp-up time and great tasks and assessments. So you need to plan well to conduct your tasks and assessments. So once you have that kind of plan, it offers you rich learning and collaboration experiences. Right. So this is a screenshot from Schoology. You can see, you can see instruction tools, communication and collaboration, and this is also available as an app to your mobile and tablets, and it can give you data analytics, and also you can manage your assessments. Right. So this is another screenshot. Excuse me for a minute, my phone is. All right, so sorry for the interruption. Now we'll go ahead with another tool called classroom management, which is called bbbb in short. It's called as Big Blue Button. Okay, our university has used this during this time, and we found it extremely good. This is a web conferencing system for online learning. This is deeply integrated into an LMS. So actually in our university, it has been integrated into Moodle. This offers features like you can conduct online sessions, live sessions, where you can see how many students are participating. And in fact, if you want to record your session, you can record the sessions and store it for the later usage. This is what we have done. Actually, when we go for live classes, we used to conduct online. Also, we use the recording option. So it just records our video and audio along with our PowerPoint slides. And then in addition to that, you will be allowed to give notes, right? So teaching notes, you can do it. If you have a touch screen, you can actually write using your pen or even use your fingers to write. For example, the math teachers can write their formulas on the screen itself. So this is open source, but you need to integrate with your LMS, existing LMS. So that's about the classroom management. When you go for the next type of tool, which is actually content creation tools. All right, so I give a 30 seconds break. Please, those who have not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. Those who are watching the YouTube. All right, so the content creation. This is the most essential part for a teacher. You cannot just go and sit in front of your camera and start teaching, right? So you need to prepare the contents. If your online teaching is like writing on the board and keeping the camera in front of it, and you don't have to worry about the content creation, right? So, but most of us do not have that kind of sophistication in recording our screens, right? You don't have a proper studio, you don't have a lighting, you don't have a tripod with a camera and a mic to record all those things. So you need to create your contents before you go for your live classes. So it's not about the PowerPoint itself, more than that, right? So you can have a video or interactive contents, and then you can have as simple as the slides or some animated presentations, okay? Particularly for the younger kids, they like to have more animations to understand. In some of the complicated concepts, it's better to create your own contents, and you can go online. This is effective when the teachers are creative in presenting the contents in a totally interesting method. Okay, so this needs the teacher's creativity in applying their thoughts before you go for online, right? So the contents has to be created. Please remember that the contents, once you create, you own that, and you can repeat it. So you apply your thoughts the way you teach in the traditional classes. You convert that into an online material, and go ahead with creating that. So it'll take some time to learn some of the tools. It's not that simple as you have the PowerPoint. Even PowerPoint has grown up very advanced. I'll show you some of the features at the end. It is worth giving an attempt to learn, because this is how, as I told you at the beginning, the world has already shifted, and the new normal is that every teacher is expected to know about the online tools, particularly the content creation. So if you are unique in creating your content, you can stand different from your peer members. So once you have such kind of contents, you can always engage your students. All right, so let us take the first tool, which is called as the Edu Creations. Here you record your voice on the iPad screen. This actually helps in the iPad. So if you have the iPad, so you can create the iPad, the contents. You can have a dynamic video tutorial that your students and your colleagues can access anytime as needed. So the pros here is that you get just enough options to make creating presentations fun and effective, which means that you don't have to worry about too much of learning process. The cons is that there's a one-take creation app, which means that you can save a draft presentation and there's some editing capability, but be ready to get your narration right on the first try. It's not like a video editing tool where you can edit smaller stuff and then attach it. So try to go for just one take. I'm sure most of the traditional teachers like that way because we are not actors, right? To go for take one, take two, take three, etc. So the bottom line is this is an easy functional way to create presentations on the fly. And this is also another tool which is pretty much known called the Screencastomatic. I have used this tool for quite a lot of time to record my screen, particularly the online demonstration of any of my software. It records your voice, it records your web camera, it records your screen and everything. So you can create a high quality screencast without breaking the bank, which means you don't have to invest your money in that. I think it allows you to record free for about 15 minutes. I think that's more than enough to create one particular content with a particular topic. So the pros is that this is intuitive, which means that it's easy to learn quickly. And then the paid versions are cost effective. Even if you want to go for the full featured version, it's not that costly. Include a full suite of editing tools. On the negative side, it takes time to build a content library, which means that to create a library, it takes some time. So a gallery of standard-based, high-quality screencasts would be helpful for time-starved teachers. And then at the end, a well-designed screen and video recorder that lets teachers and students to focus on creating engaging content from the get-go. So I would strongly recommend if your need is that you need to record your screen and then just host it somewhere, this is the best option. Go for the Screencastomatic. And you have Adobe Spark. Most of the Adobe tools are licensed, but fortunately this tool is free. Okay, Adobe Spark is free. This is a super flexible design tool for designing the images, videos, and any sites. You can create dynamic content like small animations which are interactive, which are useful for the students to learn and understand. And it will not take much time for you to learn because this is a web-based app. So you can just go to Adobe Spark, Google it, you can get the link. You just go there, sign up, and then you can start working on immediately. So you can come out with your first content in just about an hour, not even an hour, less than that. And then GNearly, this is another tool that I have come across, not used much. It's a single platform for all kinds of interactive contents. You can show off your ideas and turn them into unforgettable stories. So you can have, you can see the features of that. It increases the retention of the students when they see the contents, and it makes the engagement better with the students and makes the people to keep the things memorable. And also you have what is called as a gamification. So you can make the content available as a game, right? So the students like to have the activities based or the game based learning. So if you have the idea of introducing the activity based learning, this is one of the choices. Right, this is another screenshot from GNearly. So you can see you can start as simple as a presentation, dossier. You can have the gamification, interactive images where you can say puzzle kind of thing where you can ask them to click on the images and create. And you can also create an infographic, whether it is horizontal or vertical. And you can make a video presentation as well. And also you can use it for personal branding, and you can use it for the social interactions. Right, so that's about the content creation. But what are the challenges in the content creation, right? The problems that I have faced during the content creation are listed here. I'm just trying to make it as general as possible. The first one is the audio problem, right? Most of the time you will end up in the audio problem. So either the volume is too low or the surrounding noises are captured in your recording and the audience will not be able to hear it properly. So this is one of the drawbacks, not only with any particular tool. Any tool you go, this will happen. So you need to be careful about avoiding the noises and using the better devices. And video camera problems, yes, the position quality of the problems. Probably you might have seen two of my videos at the initial stage in the Google Hangout. You might have seen a slightly lower resolution. That's from my webcam. And I'm hosting this through my mobile cam. I'm using my mobile camera as a webcam. So you can use them. There are a lot of apps to convert your mobile camera into a webcam. And then editing problems. Of course, if you are having a long video recording and you'll be ending up in video editing. So there are a lot of mobile phone apps available that just drag and drop and then use the slider to cut and edit. It's possible, but only thing is you need to adapt to that. And then content limitation in target sites. For example, in our Moodle site, the upload limit is 50 MB. So if you have a long recorded video, you will not be able to upload unless it is either compressed or cut into various pieces, so you cannot upload it. So there is a limitation on the content uploading. And then we have the presentation issues with the students. Of course, you have a particular format being recorded and the students do not have that particular decoder. So they will come out with an issue that, sir, we will not be able to read it, or we do not hear the audio in the video, or we do not see the video at all, something like that. So and don't forget about the copyright violations. Whenever you are using any contents, please give the credits to the proper authors. Right, so the next topic is assessment tools. Before we see that, we have to see some of the points related to the assessment tools. This is one of the most challenging tasks in the online teaching, right? Because you need to come out with an assessment to see how, I mean, that's a yardstick or the measure to see how much your students have learned. So there are varieties of options available online, like multiple choice to essay type. Of course, you can conduct the time limit on the open book test, so you need to be prepared towards that. So you need to address various categories of students. There'll be some students who are very sincere, always try to attempt to the core of the exams without any external help, right? So that's the one set of students. There are other set of students. Okay, this is a time to take help. I can take help. They can search for any materials available online or the open book options. The other category is that always they try to put less effort and get more gains. So that's the most challenging part to address. So you need to cater to all these categories of students. And then some of the online solutions which are available for particularly math and science, when you design your problems, ensure that those are not available online. Even if they are available, the students will take some time to convert that into an answer. And then authenticity is a big question. Who is taking the exam? Is it your student or someone else? In the traditional, you have a lot of mechanisms to check it, right? So you have a hall ticket or the student ID to verify. There are some institutions which are using the biometric, right? So there are possibilities to verify the authenticity of the students. Here, we do not know who is taking the exam. And then finally, if you don't go for the automatic grading options like multiple choice, you have to go with the manual grading, and you have to download each and every answers submitted by the students. And of course, during the exam, there is a chance that your students will come out with data connectivity issues. Right? So in our experience, in our university, we have come out with this experience of data connectivity. There are remote islands where the connectivity is not good. So we need to cater to those students as well when we design our exams in a way that we give more time for those students to submit. And then meeting the university or accreditation criteria. So university would have, prescribed certain criteria to have certain type of questions or certain type of assessment. So you need to follow that. Your accreditation criteria like ISO or your NBA or NAC might have given some kind of criteria for summative or formative assessment. So you need to follow up that as well. Right. So some of the tools quickly I go through. One is called Piazza. Right, so this integrates with every LMS. LMS itself has assessment mechanisms. If you want to go additional, you can do such tools. And this is an example of Piazza, where I was trying to create one quiz with the enrollment. Most of the universities' data are available with this tool. If you want to register, you can register with your school account, and the university or the college account. You'll be able to see your college. And then another tool is called the peer grade, which I have used personally in my class. The advantage is that you can ask the peer members, the students among themselves, to evaluate. When they evaluate, they do not know who has submitted. It is an anonymous evaluation. When I tested this with one of my assignments, it was a big surprise to me that the grading was much more stricter than how I do. The peer members evaluation happens in a way that it's so sincere, so seriously my students have attempted. And you can see that, I think I have not given my screenshot. My students have attempted in a way that no one has got more than 80%. So that's how they grade each other. So the anonymity was there, so they wanted to give their best. So only thing is you need to set up the question and the rubrics. They'll be able to follow and do that. And then another tool called Socrata. This also supports formative and summative assessment in terms of polls and quizzes. Right, this is the screenshot from Socrata. All right, so you can see a quiz sample taken in that particular tool called Socrata. Okay, so coming out of the assessment tools, what is next in the online teaching tools is the live communication tools, right? So most of the online classes, other than the bbbb, you need to have some live communication tools. Some of them, there are a lot of tools, but I have just listed only 4 here. One is the Google Hangout Meet, which this particular session has been hosted. And you have Teams, Microsoft Teams, that is also useful if your institution has signed up for the Microsoft 360, Office 365. You'll be able to host a live session in Microsoft Teams as well. And then we have other known tools like WeChat Work, which works up to 300 participants. And then Log, which is a chat, calendar, and conferencing tool. It's up to 100 participants. In addition to that, you know that we have Zoom. Zoom is also useful, though there were some reports raised about the security, but then our university has used with the licensed with the Zoom, and we have used for a lot of online classes, not only classes, even for the presentations. We have sessions where the students have to present for their assessment. So we conducted using the Zoom sessions. It all went on very well. All right, so I told you at the beginning that I'll be giving you some of the tools that are going to be very handy, particularly the Microsoft PowerPoint. Okay, with the latest PowerPoint 2019 version, you can see a lot of advancements. Even 2016 do not have some of them, but 2019 has a lot of advanced features. Some of the basic things that you can even find in 2016 version is that it can capture the audio or video along with the slides. I'm sure people might have not experimented that. I have given a small demo in my YouTube. There's a link given. You can see the link just below this. You click on that. I have given a demo on how to use this feature to record your audio and video along with every slide. This is beautiful feature that I have used in some of my online classes, where for every slide what you speak, that only will be recorded. Okay, so you have a lot of time to take a break between the slides. So if you want to talk only for the slide, you talk, just take a break, again you talk. But if you want to just go flow in a continuous way, just keep pressing next slide, it keeps recording. So that's a beautiful option or feature in Microsoft PowerPoint. So you can create the contents quickly. You don't have to depend on any third-party tool. All of you must be having Microsoft PowerPoint, or your institution might be having, so you can utilize them. So you don't have to worry about the conversion to any other formats, because every student can open this. And if they don't have the Microsoft PowerPoint, your students, you can convert that into PPS, the PowerPoint show, and then you can upload. Even without Microsoft PowerPoint, they will be able to see that, right? And then finally, there is another option where you can convert all the slides into a video. So this will go in a sequence, depending on how much you speak for each slide. It will go as a MP4 video. You can convert that in, you can upload it. So that is also possible. So don't forget to click on this demo. I'll be sharing the slides at the end of the webinar, so you can always have a look at it. Or already, if you are there in my channel, you can always go to this video, which I have already uploaded. Right. So there is another tool called Audacity, where if you want to only record voice, this is a beautiful tool. Suppose if you want to have some kind of fun by adding some kind of backdrop of music, you can very well do that with Audacity. Right? This is learning is very, very simple. You can just record with your built-in microphone. And of course, VLC player, most of us might be knowing about the VLC players, where it's a well-known player. It has a wonderful conversion feature that probably people might not used. So if you're recording a video in a particular format, and your the destination, your LMS doesn't accept it, if it accepts a particular format like MP4 or say AVI or MOV, you can convert from one format to another format in VLC, and also this will help you to compress your files. You can actually compress your files, right? So if your MP4 is too big to be uploaded, then you can apply the compression in just convert or compress. You can do the compression in VLC as well. Right, so for the final thought, before I I go through the slides, please, those who have not given the subscription to my channel, please give it. I'll be sharing a lot of educational tools, okay? Please click on the subscription. Right, so now we'll have the recommendation. If you are setting up an online teaching learning platform for your institution or for your own courses, first keep a baseline LMS tool. You need to keep a tool that supports your requirements. For example, if you don't have any money to invest, go for the open source like Moodle or Google Classroom. And even if you don't have any servers, these tools can be hosted in their own servers, okay? To some availability, I mean, to some extent you can host in their own servers, okay? And then a content creation tool. So you can recommend as simple as the PowerPoint, or you can use any tools like the Adobe Spark, or keep some of the tools depending on your needs. And then use one or more assessment tools to engage students. So you need to assess them. So once you deliver the contents, you need to assess them. So how you're going to assess? Based on your requirement, you can choose your tool for the assessment. And then engaging the students with various tools and techniques is a key. So please remember the e-moderation 5-stage model. Please remember you have to ensure that you run through various features. For example, creating a forum, creating an audio interactive sessions or video interactive sessions. Try to engage them, right? So that's most challenging. Just apply some techniques to engage. For example, I used to have weekly briefing sessions where I want all my students to come online on a particular day or at a particular time. So they'll be available. I'll be connecting with them through video or audio. Since many students did not have much of data connectivity, I mean much bandwidth of data connectivity, so I prefer the audio interaction, and then they also prefer the audio interaction, also the text interaction. So try to engage with them, then get to know about what's happening with the students. And then assessment needs to be completely different from face-to-face. So keep it in mind. You cannot create questions that you have created for your face-to-face, something like describe, define, okay? So please don't have such questions. If you have, just forget about that. Okay, so the direct answers, any questions that leads to direct answers, your students are smarter than you. They can easily pick up the solutions online. They can just copy paste. Okay, so in that case, if you are not sure about that, you can always use some of the features like the plagiarism, which are something like an additional plugin into most of the LMS. You can use them. And then mostly you may have to conduct the time limited open book tests. So this is one way of getting the assessments done, where you cannot tell them that the students don't copy, or if you copy, you will lose marks. And these things you cannot say now, right? So you have to allow them to go on open book, right? When they go open book, the only restriction that you can make is the time limitation. So make it as time limited open book. Give the questions in a way that they have to apply whatever they have understood from the whole course through the online teaching, whatever you have conducted so far. From there, they have to at least know this has been taken from this particular part of the lecture. So they have to go through and then find out. To some extent, they should have that at least the connectivity between those topics. So keep such things, and gradually it will improve. Okay, because of the sudden shift, we have to start like this, and slowly when you create interactive contents, then and there you will be assessing them in terms of the interactive contents like interactive images or interactive animations or whatever it is. All right, so I have come to the end. I think, yeah, we are on time. I'm happy to answer your questions.
Participants, you can either post your questions in the chat box, or you can, it's better to post your questions in the chat box. Just since we have too many participants, it's better to post your questions.
There is a question I can say, which is the best content creation tool for math and science?
The questions.
Okay, so you want to have equations and diagrams. As I told you, you can use the tool that has the iPad access. In fact, you can also use the big blue button where you can draw your equations and anything that you on the screen. So you don't have to have a stylus pen. You can use your fingers to draw it. Okay, as simple as a PowerPoint. You can in fact use a PowerPoint itself to draw your equations on a screen. Okay, when you're recording, keep a blind screen, white screen or a black screen. Use the pen at the bottom. Take it and draw whatever you want. That will be recorded. Okay, so there are a lot of tools for mind maps, flowcharts. You can see the diagrammatic tools like draw.io. That's also an online tool for drawing diagrams. You can draw any types of flowcharts. That's also, again, open source, freeware. It's web-based. You don't have to install. I mean, of course, there is a desktop version you can install as well. So you can use that for your drawing purposes. And of course, when you draw, again, use tools like Screencastomatic to record your screen and then host it in your LMS. All right, so which live platform tool is user-friendly for teachers like Zoom? All right, so you'd like to know which tool is user-friendly like Zoom. You can use Google Hangout Meet, or if your institution has a license with the big blue button, you can always have the live sessions with that. That's pretty much user-friendly. Okay, there is a question. Does Schoology LMS offer a free account? If yes, then how many students can be added to it? I signed up with my official ID. It allowed me to create a course. I have practically not checked with my students because we already have an LMS, so I didn't practically check it, but I'm sure it is going to support many students, at least like few hundreds, because it's a web-based application. So you can give a try by registering using your school account, your official account. Okay, so there's a question about all tools that are discussed are open source. If yes, what are they? Most of the tools that I have discussed are open source, or it allows the teachers to have free account, okay? And even the students. If an institution wants to have, probably that might ask for a license, but most of the tools what I have taught you is just free for the teachers, okay? Even the Screencastomatic, it allows you to record 15 minutes of recording in 720p. Your complete screen with your complete webcam, your complete mic, everything is recorded, so no worries about it.
Sir, for assessment purpose, what type of tools can also be used?
Okay, so
while we are also using,
yeah, there are plenty of tools. In fact, I've been also experimenting on that. There was one method called proctoring. Okay, proctoring is a method where the students have to install a plugin on Google Chrome or any other browsers, where it will take a photograph and the video of the surroundings as well before they start the exams. So they have to ensure that they are sitting alone, and not only the video and the photographs, but this also allows people to ensure that the authentic person is taking up the examinations. And also we have there's a website called exam.net where the students can write your answer. They can write the answers in a paper and they can just take a picture in their mobile phone. There will be a QR code that will be connected to your quiz. So you just have to post the questions and the answers will be automatically taken. I mean, the transition, the transformation from your mobile phone to your desktop is much simpler using the tools like exam.net. There are plenty of tools. Believe me, for the assessment, there are a lot of tools. Only thing is you have to check based on your requirements.
Sir, what are the tools for practical classes?
Practical classes, all right. So which practical you mean? What is the subject?
Just like analytical practicals, like science stream students.
Okay, science, for the physics and all, there are a lot of tools, software available, but I'm not sure, but I'm a computer science man. If you are able to show any demonstration using your camera, if the people understand through the camera, it is good enough. But if you want to make the people to work on the experimentation, I'm sure for the physics, there are a lot of tools available. I have still not explored much of them. But I know my student, my daughter is attending some of the practical classes through some of the tools. Our university is actually teaching that.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
So, thank you for your nice presentation. Sir, can we check the plagiarism if the students are submitting the assessment through the Moodle? Other than Moodle, is there any option to check plagiarism?
All right. See, in Moodle, by default, you don't have that comfortable zone, but there are a lot of APIs available in Moodle itself. For example, there is a tool called JPlag. Okay, there is a JPlag. Okay. There is Turnitin. Turnitin is going to compare the similarity. The JPlag is free. Okay, you have to install them and ask your administrator to integrate it as part of the Moodle. So when you set up your assignment, you can obviously select the JPlag. So the students will be able to check their plagiarism before they submit using the Turnitin. And when it comes to you, you can easily compare who is the source, who is the target, what is the similarity between them.
Even is to check image file also in JPEG.
No,
you see
image files. No, image files are visual contents.
It's not
visual contents. You have to check through your eyes.
Because as of I'm from mathematics, so students are it's not able to type in that file. That's why they written in and they took photo and they are forwarding.
That's true.
So we are very difficult to check.
That's true.
So what about Big Blue, sir? Is there any
issues? When there are some diagrams to be drawn in our courses as well, I ask the students to draw in their hands. But that's what I said. That's one of the challenges in assessment. Manual grading. That's going to take a lot of time. I'm sure that's not a very far from now, comparing the images of two different answers. Of course, with the deep learning and all, it is possible or it is already existing. I've still not explored it, to be honest.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So let me see if there are any questions being typed by the. Oh yeah, there are a lot of questions. Is peer grade assessment tool useful for higher education and secondary? Yes, of course. You can use it for higher secondary as well as the higher education. Okay, so it's all about you have to define the question, you have to define the rubrics and share it with your students. There's a time for submission, there's a time for grading. Once the submissions are closed, the grading will start. It will automatically assign. For example, each has to be evaluated by 2 students or 3 students. You can set that. It is possible. Okay, so those who are watching again, a request from my side, please subscribe to my channel and the YouTube.
Sir, your presentation was very nice.
Thank you.
Sir, please.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Do you listen?
Yeah.
Hi, thank you, sir. Yeah, I'm Harigram from the National Tribal University, Amarkantak, Madhya Pradesh.
Okay.
Your presentation was very nice, and I would like to have only one clarification. Which is the best tool for evaluating the people for higher education?
Come again, I didn't get your question properly.
Sir?
Yeah, tell me please.
Sir, which is the best tool for evaluating the people in the higher education system?
Evaluating what? Evaluating people?
Evaluating the teaching quality of the students in teacher education system.
Okay, so far they have not invented a tool to evaluate the quality of the students. The quality of the students can only be evaluated by a teacher. So that's through the assessment, and that's through the classroom participations. But then, you can, to some extent, you can measure their quality. For example, in Moodle, we used to see their activities. Right?
Okay,
Everyday
sir.
activities, log reports, activity, how many times they have clicked on that particular activity. I can take the whole semester and see how long they have been active. Okay, in terms of the infographics, like the histograms. If I see a big gap and suddenly if there is a spike only during the examination, then I can say that this student is not active for the entire duration, right? So this is one of the measures.
Okay, sir.
But if if the students know that you're going to measure only based on this, what they will do is every day they will open the Moodle, 10 times they will click, or 20 times they will click, and then they will just vanish, right? So there is no standard measures. The only thing is you have to evaluate their quality.
Thank you very much.
Okay, there is a question in my YouTube. Can window is a tool to
Mohan, can we wind up the session?
Which automatically name IUPAC? Okay. Can I synchronize the tool to Google Classroom or TCS Ion Classroom? I have not experimented it, but if that tool is web-based, or if that tool is running in your desktop itself, it is possible to integrate as simple as sharing your screen. Okay? Or if it is available on the screen, I suggest you to record the screen, demonstrate, and just host it in your Google Classroom. So physics virtual lab is the answer for someone asked about the physics. So the name of the tool is physics virtual lab. Any other questions?
Okay.
Also, the feedback link is being shared. Thank you for all your comments, nice comments. I really feel happy for all your appreciation.
Mohan sir?
Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes. Jagdish sir, you are, I think.
Mohan sir?
Yes.
Can we end up the session, sir?
Yes, sure.
We are having few doubts. If you could just clarify your, share your mail ID, then people can contact you.
Okay, just
over
before
mail.
wind up, there is one question from Dr. Govindra Srinivas. Is it possible to create animated content for our students? Yes, it is possible using the tools like Adobe Spark. You can create animated contents, and there are a lot of other tools available as well, but this is free. Adobe Spark is free. You can create the animated tools. Right, thank you. Jagdish sir, please take over.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So now we will just move on to the last part of the session, vote of thanks. We would like to greatly appreciate and thank today's resource person, Dr. Mohan S., for his enlightening session. Hope you had a good session, a good learning experience. Of course, you will have few doubts and clarifications. You just explore, you will get more information. Just have contact with the resource person and he will guide you hereafter. Right? So, I would like to thank our revered Secretary Maharaj for giving us the opportunity, our Principal Anna, and all the staff members, especially Shivashankar Anna and Ayyappan Anna, who have helped us throughout this session. And for your information, I have posted the feedback link in the chat box as well as in the WhatsApp groups. Just fill in, make sure you don't commit any mistakes in typing your name and designation. So once it is filled, and you cannot change it, and it's not possible to give another certificate to you. Next, thank you all for the participation. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thanks for the opportunity to interact with so many people from India. I'm really happy. I think even people are from other countries as well. Since the time was limited, so I had to rush up. I'm sure if you have any other queries, my email ID is there. I'll be sharing my slides. You can always interact with me. You can send me your queries. I'll be happy to reply. Thank you so
Sir,
much.
please send
Thank you,
your.
sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.